Capp Mill. Nothing so satisfying as the clinching, there, that ought to hold it, pull at the knot that won't unravel now, turn on the wrench to seal the pipe watertight. Solidity keeps us going, so it was natural that the stone grip of the village on its hill appealed to me. I could feel the heft of a giant work boot wedge the levered slabs into position, could hear the trowels ring, raspy with grit, as it slapped and firmed the wayward gobs of mortar, steaming like cowpats until even the bubbles learned for good the stone's lesson of hardness. The place we stayed in, down in the valley, was stone, but without the archness of its hilltop cousins. No linteled coats of arms, no oriel windows flashing gems. Shyly, Capp Mill drew back into the hill, its back wall swathed in hill, so that the second story's side door opened on footpaths. One ran up beyond the roof, eating away at the slope in flagstone stepfuls, the other down to a gravel-covered landing that bridged the mill race. Stone seemed to have conquered water and wood, the paddle wheel long gone, the channeled stream easy to overlook, but hard not to overhear. Its pebbled monologue spilled ceaselessly over the window ledges, sharing in private conversations, intruding on nighttime silences. It turned our thoughts back to the weavers who had first lived there, how they had done without silence, the clack of the looms rebounding off stone walls all the long working day, the mill wheel creaking all night in its sleepless bed, and always the water pouring on through time. Working with wool, drawing out long pearls of fiber, stirred by the pulse of the shuttles coming and going, they must have felt more at home with water than with unmoving stone. And in an age of brief, unshapen lives, water's ragged pleat caught the texture of truth. Their threads, their knots, all woven of water. Perhaps it also sounded what they knew of power, not the landing of ringing hammers, but a whispered seepage, relentless, wearing even stone down. Our last morning at Capp Mill, we sat downstream on the opposite bank and stared at water. It took on the solidity of stone, and the house, massive, anchored, flowed away. Midland Swimmer. Are you asleep? Like a door that always opens on the same empty closet, the old jokey question you can never answer yes to as a snap in comparison to where are you? Moving wherever you are. Even your stillness on the back seat takes the bent of action, a kicking reach through swells and drifts of Afghan. My live question mark, are they salt or sweet, the waters you riddle? Asking gets me as far as ladling water with a net. Though I can catch your small beached foot and hear soft waves of breath, the mesh of senses isn't fine enough to land you now. When you come back, you'll rub the sand from your eyes and know nothing of where you've been. Love is like that, the element we breathe and move through, untouchable and always there. Rembrandt. The lady takes in the message, and so do we, but not the same. Her message comes from David via a letter, ours from life via Rembrandt. The letter is not real, and she not really Bathsheba, but Hendrikia Stoffels, posed for her lover's painting. The lady is not real, but once was. Rembrandt used her real flesh as a messenger to send the image of a fable. Her flesh catches our eye more than his fable, her dimpled left breast a sign we recognize of advanced cancer. It must have seemed an odd love gift being painted into a fable of betrayal. He no David, she no Bathsheba, yet Rembrandt's gift for darker pigment caught a real Goliath beyond the slingshot's arc, a real betrayal in the pose. He could not read it, though he must have kissed it love-making. He loved her as he loved the art that sent her image past her life to us. They loved in ignorance of what was real, her body blindly nursing, his eye blindly immortalizing it. His eye has focused ours above the sheet of parchment, above the body that caught David's eye, onto her thoughts cast. It takes in the betrayals of letter, flesh, canvas. It burns and puts their white lies in the shade with light as from a fire. The call for Barbara Howard and Richard Outram. Was that you, a ripple arrowing through the rows of barley, making no more noise than the wind does when it strokes their tassels? A call, but in the kind of sign language that shyness and a mind for teasing would conspire to shape, a mute challenge you knew I'd be too slow to pick up. To follow across the field at dusk, leap the tangled masses of deadfall bordering the pines, and zigzag through the undergrowth without breaking an ankle or heading into a tree. That was your specialty, not mine. I marvel at nature's reckless spending, how she throws lives around like small change, each rabbit the foxes get to, each chipmunk frozen with tiny feet stretched out, unique as the dapple on each leaf as leaves drop by the millions. And you, my elusive white-tail, the pattern of extravagance sprouting from your head afresh each summer, fast-growing branchwork that outpaced the trees, only to be cast off when the snows came. Was your airy leap also a spendthrift's toss, or a headlong break to throw off gravity? Living in the country is like standing under a shining cascade of shed things, a flotsam of short lives spilling over the unmoving edge. So I should have guessed, on skis, doing my level best to catch what I remembered of your grace of stride, that the bare stalk tipped over in the field was no small tree. Though the wolves pared your bones to match the antler that you hadn't cast, none of the knobby awkwardness of bones hampered its branching flow. A silk-gloved hand tracing one last leap, daring me to follow.